Not only has COVID-19 affected a lot of our lives personally, but it's also affected our small businesses. And I am very happy to have been a part of some of the innovative ideas and work that has been done by Mayor Woodfin and Dr. Carpenter and his team. So, Dr. Carpenter, if you'll just give us an update on what we're doing in the city of Birmingham to help with the small businesses and a little bit about our Birmingham Strong program. Dr. Josh Carpenter.
Well, good morning, everyone. And Councilor Alexander, thank you for the opportunity to help. It's always a pleasure to work with your office and Isola especially. I'm so grateful for y'all's partnership as a economic development. It requires a big team, not just a team, but a big and a good and thoughtful team. And so I lean on Councilor Alexander and President Pro Tem Alexander a lot as a thought partner and as someone who really cares about small businesses and about workers in our community. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what we're doing through Birmingham Strong, but also want to make sure that you know that I'm available for questions on or off this call. But let me say first, the state of small businesses is at a crisis point, and I think that's important for us to say up front. Everything we've done is to react to that crisis and really to respond to that crisis in a way that is sensitive to the business owners and the risks that they take, but also to the workers that they employ, to the families of those workers. Birmingham is going to have a higher unemployment rate than it has had in my lifetime and probably in many of your lifetimes. And it's not just a Birmingham problem. The International Monetary Fund, the IMF, just published a report that said they expect that this will be an enduring crisis, that we will have a 10% unemployment rate for a very long time. Between early March and now, we've seen about 20,000 Birmingham residents file for unemployment. Over that normal period, we would expect that number to be closer to about 1,000 to 2,000. So this is it's hit the Birmingham economy particularly hard. We're seeing businesses close down as a result of that. And so I just want to be real about the facts on the ground. Everybody is closed now, obviously, because of the public health order. But once the state does reopen, once the city does reopen, you'll see that some of the places that you depend on will not open up either with the same capacity or even at all. And those are difficult realities for us to face. But I think the tools that we've put together, and I think the thoughtfulness and sensitivity with which Councilor Alexander and her colleagues have acted, and along with Mayor Woodfin, has enabled us to put together a good strategy. In fact, our strategy is being held up as one of the best responses of cities our size across the country. The first thing we did, we sort of thought about this in three prongs, and we'll roll through those. The first one is what we call fortify small businesses. Small businesses really are the backbone of our economy. They're the lifeblood of our community, and they are the pride of our neighborhoods. And small business owners take more risks in the morning than so I take in maybe a whole life. And so I think we're sad to see how many of them have been hurt by this. But we did a survey and found that about 650 small businesses said that COVID would affect their business either somewhat significantly or very significantly. Many of them saw around $100,000 loss in March. We think that number is greater in April. We also know that they had to lay off about 20% of their employees. So what we wanted to do was quickly establish a fund to support them through an emergency loan structure. So we worked with the Birmingham Business Resource Center. Many of you probably know Bob Dickerson. He's been in the lending community for a very long time. We also worked with the Community Foundation of Greater Birmingham to establish a fund. And the city put in $1.2 million, and that was matched in the private sector with about $1.2 million. What we've been able to do then is review a bunch of loans, and just this week we've approved 66 loans that have gone to businesses throughout the city, and that's about $1.5 million. So we still have about $500,000 to $600,000 left to deploy, but we think that's going to save about 700 jobs in our community. It's also going to produce a lot of revenue in our community for the city. So it's about a in economic terms, it's a 7-to-1 ROI, return on investment for city taxpayers. Again, we weren't able to save everybody, but we were able to help many small businesses. And we hope to be able to follow up on that fund and redeploy additional cash. We're working with our colleagues at the county, at the state, to potentially put something like that together. The second thing that we did was really give what we call technical assistance. So my whole team, who usually goes out and tries to recruit businesses, we focused on making sure that technical assistance was provided to small businesses here at home. So we really wanted them to take advantage of the Small Business Administration's funding opportunities. So we called a bunch of them, and we set up a center to call them to make sure they were ready. Then we had several people on hand. We partnered with Urban Impact and the Birmingham Business Alliance and others to make sure that they had the technical assistance they needed. And then what we did was try to match them to resources. And many businesses in our community applied through the SBA to get what's called a paycheck protection loan or an economic injury disaster loan. Not all of them were successful. And what we also learned through the first round of that funding, and it was pretty big, it was about $350 billion nationwide, was that some businesses, particularly our minority-owned businesses, had non-traditional banking relationships, or they had a bank relationship with someone who wasn't an approved SBA 7A lender. And so what we did, and what I'm very, very proud of, is we went out to a big bank that many of you probably heard of called Goldman Sachs. They said, we are proud to be in Birmingham. We are proud to lend to small businesses in Birmingham, and we believe that they will recover. And that's a big deal, y'all. They are not in, they're not even in Atlanta. They're not in Nashville. They chose New Orleans and Baltimore as some of the markets that they were going to expand in for this program. And then they chose Birmingham. And so that's an additional up to $5 million to our businesses. Now, we can't guarantee that money, but we can guarantee that we're doing everything we can to put our businesses in the best possible position to succeed. So that's what we've done. That loan application is back online. And so if you have small businesses who said, hey, I missed that first round of applications, I don't have a relationship with a lender, make sure you send them to behamstrong.com and they'll be able to find that application. The second thing that we did was we really wanted to focus on workers. That's the second sort of prong in this effort. And the goal for us was to meet emerging community needs. We have a lot of people who've lost their jobs, but we also have a lot of new needs in our community, from transporting people to and from testing to providing food and meals for people who are shut in or quarantined. We needed a new strategy. And so we are working with people who've lost their jobs to fill those needs, to fill those gaps, to work those call centers. We've done everything from call residents of public housing to make sure that they were able to be tested, and to call small business owners and make sure that they had the resources they needed to apply for the SBA. So it's been exciting for us. We've been able to redeploy about 100 workers. Again, we were able to, the city put in $1 million, and then we were able to raise, right now, we've raised it right at a little under $400,000, and we expect more to continue to come. That process is probably going to be a little longer than what we wanted it to be. And that's part. The bottom line is that this is not just like a tornado where the impact happened overnight and we see where the path was and we're able to repair. This is going to be with us for a little while. And I think one of the things that we've all had to do, and certainly I've had to do and come to terms with, is that collectively, and I know we have a lot of faith leaders on this call, and my father was a pastor. So one of the things that I'm coming to terms with is that, this is our reality. And the spiritual, emotional, physical, economic needs of people are going to be stretched thin and maybe in higher demand than we've ever seen. And so we're going to continue to be innovative around what products and projects this group works on. We're always open for suggestion. BeHamstrong.com has an opportunity. So if you know someone right now who lost their job, please send them there. We We want to be able to find them a job as soon as we possibly can. Since the Councilor Alexander led and pushing this through the city council, we've had about 400 people sign up, and would love it if more people from District 7 signed up today. So please work with us and make sure that people know about that. And the main takeaway from my conversation really is, if you have small business owners who are asking questions and need help, or if you have workers who lost their jobs and need help, please send them to BeHamstrong. Build a resilient community. And I think that that's going to involve all of us. It's not, and I think Councilor Alexander does this really well. It's not just about her. It's not just about the mayor or our team. It's about all of us really working together as a team to figure out what it looks like to overcome and get through this crisis. And we're going to have to be creative. We're going to have to do it on scarce resources. And we're going to have to let some of our old political battles die so we can focus on what's ahead. And I just want to also say I'm so grateful for Dr. Williford. He and the health team have been just the best partners to make things work for our team. And I know that they care about the health of their residents just like we care about the economic health of our residents. And I know you all do too. So I'm happy to answer questions later, but I want to kick it back to Councilor Alexander.
Thank you very much. I am truly appreciative, Dr. Carpenter, of the update that you've given us today. And again, I just can't thank you enough, and the mayor and my colleagues, for the innovative spirit, the fact that I think we were one of the first cities to try to create a program that would help our own small businesses. So again, I continue to be thankful for the partnership that we have among our council, with our mayor and his staff, as well as with our partners in the community.